Hi guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing the highest rated books on my TBR video. I've seen this going around quite a few times on BookTube, and so I thought I would give it a go. I also saw Rincey Reads do a lowest rated books on my TBR video, which I thought was really interesting, and I thought I would maybe film something similar in a few weeks time, just to kind of see, because I thought that was really interesting as well. So people have done this in a few different ways. Basically, go to my want to read shelf on Goodreads, and on my want to read shelf are all of the physical books that I own that I haven't read yet. So it doesn't include books that I've got on my Kindle TBR, and it also doesn't include books that I want to read but I don't own. So they're on a separate kind of wish list. And I know that people have kind of played around with how to sort their books. So some people have done it just purely by the number of times people have rated it. I'm going to do it by average rating. So I've sorted my TBR list on Goodreads, and I've got 10 books to talk to you about today. So I'm going to go in reverse order from 10 to 1 and let you know what the rating is and how many times it's been rated. So number 10 on the list is Winter by Marissa Meyer, which is the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles series, and this has got an average rating of 4.48 and it's been rated 134,067 times. I haven't read the 3rd book in the series, which is Cress. It's on my TBR for June, although I don't know whether I'm going to get around to it, but I've really been enjoying the Lunar Chronicles so far. They are a YA science fiction retelling series. So the first book was based on Little Red Riding Hood, or no, it wasn't, was it? It was Cinderella, sorry. And then the second book was Little Red Riding Hood. Cress is based on oh my god, like what, Rapunzel, that's it. And then Winter is based on Snow White. So yeah, they've been really engaging so far, really easy to read. It's really interesting that this last one has got such a high rating. It's really massive, but yeah, I have really been meaning to get around to reading these. Number 9 on the list is this chunker. This is Arthur Conan Doyle's The Complete Sherlock Holmes. So this is the 150th anniversary edition, and it basically has his entire works in it. I bought this from my husband for his birthday quite a few years ago now. Neither of us have got around to reading it, and in fact the other day he was sort of saying that he might do a project over the summer where he tries to work his way through it. But yeah, there we go. This has got an average rating of 4.5 and it's been rated 135,051 times. So yeah, that's quite interesting, because I would have thought many people would have read the individual works, but obviously we've got a bind up of all of them here. I have no idea when I'm going to get around to this, and if I do read it, I might just read it a bit at a time. So kind of read some of the short stories first and then put it down for a bit and then read a novella or whatever. But yeah, this is definitely not one that I'm going to be reading all in one go. Number 8 on the list is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, and this has an average rating of 4.36 and it's been rated 17,175 times. This is, I think, a 2018 release. Yeah. And I've heard some really good things about it. It's quite short as well, as you can see, and the font in hardbacks are normally quite big, so look, you can see from the text that's not really going to take me that long to read. And I have been, every time I look at it on my shelf, I think I must read that, so maybe I should put it on my July TBR or something like that. But this is basically about a man who is a prisoner in Auschwitz during the Second World War, and his job is to tattoo the people that are coming into the camp, who I think are going to be survivors. Is that right? Or maybe not survivors, I don't really know, but his job is to tattoo the people that come into the camp, and then he meets this girl in the queue, and I think he strikes up like a relationship with her. I think it's going to be pretty heartbreaking, to be honest, but yeah, I've had a real big craving for historical fiction lately, so yeah, really should pick that up soon. I suppose this next book shouldn't really have surprised me for it being on the list this high up, and it is The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've reread the first 2 in this trilogy this year, so this is the last one that I have to read, and this has an average rating of 4.51 and it's been rated 545,148 times. So yeah, this is a much beloved fantasy classic, so yeah, it's no wonder it's on this list really. I haven't been that enamoured by my reread of these, so I think this is probably going to be in the same vein as my experience of the other 2, but I do finally want to get around to reading this. Number 6 on the list is The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. It was quite a surprise to see this so highly rated, but this on Goodreads has got an average rating of 4.47 and it's been rated 31,444 times. And this is a children's book that focuses around a girl and her brother who are sent to the countryside. They're evacuated basically to the countryside. They're kind of glad that they're going because their mother's not that great to live with, and I think it's about basically their experience in the countryside. So sounds really good. I think Krista read this from Books and Jams, or it was certainly like a recommendation during the whole middle grade March month, and yeah, sounds like a good one. There's a few non-fiction books on the list now, so the first one of those, and this is number 5 on the list, is The New Jim Crow, and this is by Michelle Alexander, and this has an average rating of 4.51 and it's been rated 34,028 times. And yeah, maybe I should read you part of the blurb on this, because it maybe will summarise it a bit better than I can. This book directly challenges the notion that the election of Barack Obama signals a new era of colourblindness. With dazzling candour, legal scholar Michelle Alexander argues that we have not ended racial caste in America, we've merely redesigned it. By targeting black men through the war on drugs and decimating communities of colour, the US criminal justice system functions as a contemporary system of racial control, relegating millions to a permanent second-class status, even as it formally adheres to the principles of colourblindness. So that's what she's basically talking about in here. So yeah, sounds absolutely fascinating. It sounds like I'm going to learn an awful lot from it, and it's going to be an important book to read as well. Coming in at number 4 is Fragile Lives, and this is by Professor Stephen Westerby, and this has an average rating of 4.39 and it's been rated 1,041 times. I think this came out at the end of 2017. Yeah. So the paperback came out in 2018, but it was originally published in 2017. So again, quite a new one on the list to have such a good high rating on it. And this is basically what it says on the front: a heart surgeon's stories of life and death on the operating table. And it was a recommendation that I'd got when I read Adam Kay's, I can never remember the title of it. This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay, and Paul Kalanithe's When Breath Becomes Air. There we go. So yeah, medical non-fiction is really fascinating me at the moment, and yeah, so I think this is going to be hard to read but also really, really interesting. Number 3 on the list, and the last non-fiction book that I have, is Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, and this has got an average rating of 4.61 and it's been rated 45,574 times. And again, I'm going to read you a little bit from the back because I think I'll do it better justice. So it says, the US has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. 1 in every 15 people born there today is expected to go to prison. God. For black men, this figure rises to 1 in 3, and death row is disproportionately black too. Brian Stevenson grew up poor in the racially segregated South. His innate sense of justice made him a brilliant young lawyer, and one of his first defendants was Walter Macmillan, a black man sentenced to die for the murder of a white woman, a crime he insisted he didn't commit. The case drew Brian into a tangle of conspiracy, political machination, startling racial inequality and legal brinksmanship, and transformed his understanding of mercy and justice forever. So this is an unforgettable account of an idealistic lawyer's coming of age and a moving portrait of the lives of those he has defended. So kind of, it sounds very, very similar to the new Jim Crow, but obviously Michelle Alexander is coming at it from a very, very different angle. Whereas you've got Brian Stevenson, he's a lawyer and has defended people that in the situation that he describes, basically. So yeah, another really, really important one that I must get around to. Number 2 on the list is The Shadow Sister, and this is by Lucinda Riley. This is the 3rd book in the Seven Sisters series that she's writing. I've read book 1 and I have books 2 and 3 on my shelf now. This has an average rating of 4.41 and it's been rated 7,016 times. And this basically is a series that follows 7 different sisters that were all adopted by this man when they were little, and then their father dies at the beginning of the 1st book and leaves them all clues as to where they all came from, basically. And each book follows a different sister finding out what happened to them and why they were adopted and why they were given up and like that sort of thing, like their heritage, basically. So I really did enjoy the 1st book. It was fast paced, it was a good story. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to continuing on, and like I said, this is the 3rd book, so I won't get around to this for a little while, but I am looking forward to it. Number 1 really, really surprised me, but I think there are probably reasons why for this. It is In Love and War, and this is by Liz Trenell, and this has an average rating of 4.09, but it's only been rated 89 times, so I suppose that's why it's so high up on the list, just because of that ratio between how many people have read it and the rating that they've given it, which I suppose is the whole calculation of average rating. I don't really know, but anyway, this is Liz Trenell's latest novel, and it follows, I believe, a few different women. Yeah, so it follows a few different women who have gone to this area of Ypres. So they've gone to the war-torn area of Flanders near Ypres to basically look for their loved ones. So you've got Ruby's 21, a shy Englishwoman looking for the grave of her husband. Alice is only a little older but brimming with confidence. She's travelled all the way from America, convinced her brother is in fact still alive. And then there's Martha and her son Otto, who are not all they seem to be. So it's 3 women that it follows. So they've got very different backgrounds, but they're united in their search for reconciliation. They must accept what the war took from them, but also look ahead to what life might bring in the future. So I think that's a really interesting premise in terms of looking at the after effects of the war, and I've always been fascinated as well by women during the war and what their experience was while their husbands and sons and brothers and things were away. So obviously we've got this particular moment in history and we're following these women and the kind of fallout of the First World War. So yeah, it sounds really, really good, and I've read 1 Liz Trenell book and I have all of them on my shelf, so I really do need to get around to reading some more. So there you go, guys, they were my top 10 highest rated books on my Goodreads TBR. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these? What did you think of them? Do you think they deserve that kind of high rating on Goodreads? And also, if you've got your TBR on Goodreads, what's the highest rated book that you've got on there? You can just search by average rating, I think it is. Yeah, so I'd be really interested to know what's the highest average rating book that you've got on your TBR. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.